Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be a video for the hometown crowd. It is the 2025 legislative session. You all know what's coming. Therefore, we will advise you right now, 3 fingers of bourbon, breathing exercises, or a barf bag. That's what you're going to need. We're going to talk about House Bill 1163, the permit to purchase, which is now passed out of the House, strictly on party lines. Every Democrat voted for it. Every Republican voted against it. We're going to go back through the bill so you can understand what we're getting ourselves into. But Washington, you really need to understand just how egregious this is. And for all you lawful and responsible gun-owning Washington residents out there, I know it's very easy for you to understand just how unconstitutional this is. But we need to make the rest of Washington understand this. Those that are ambivalent, even those that are mildly anti-gun. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about the state that's willing to ban Second Amendment rights. Okay, this is a video for the hometown crowd, but everyone around the country could pay attention to this, especially if you're in one of these states that are just hell-bent on civilian disarmament. Because if you don't have this legislation yet, don't worry, it's coming your way, and it's coming your way quickly. I am talking about a permit to purchase. That is essentially where you need to go out and get government's permission before you can exercise a constitutional right. Now, some of the naysayers are going to be like, no, you only have the right to keep and bear arms. It doesn't say anything about acquiring firearms. Wrong. There is a litany of case law out there that says that all ancillary rights necessary to exercise the core right are equally protected under the same constitutional amendment. So, nice try on that one. But as I mentioned earlier, what you need to understand, Washington, is that this thing is passed out of the House, okay? It is going to go to the Senate. The votes are totally there for this to pass out of the Senate. It's going to go to the governor's desk, and the governor is going to sign it. And yes, then the lawsuits are going to start dropping, and away we go there. But I will ask everyone right now, when was the last time we had any type of successful Second Amendment litigation in the state of Washington? Okay. What is this bill going to do? If this bill is enacted into law, or I should say when it is enacted into law, you're going to be required to go out and obtain a permit from the state of Washington before you can purchase a firearm. The permit is going to require that you go through a background check. So for those of you who wanted to buy a firearm for the first time and then go out and get your concealed pistol license, once this law becomes into effect, you're going to have to go through a background check before you can go through a background check before you can then go through a background check. And oh yes, by the way, they are all the exact same background check. But in addition to all the usual suspects, you can't get a permit to purchase this if you're a convicted felon or you've been convicted of other types of disqualifying events, if you have some mental health issues or any other of the disqualifying events. The law would also require that you must prove the following in order to get a permit to purchase. Must produce a certificate of completion of a certified firearms safety training program within the last 5 years, or proof that the applicant is exempt from the training requirement. Okay, so in order to get your permit to purchase, which is the permission slip you'll need to exercise a constitutional right, you have to go through mandatory safety training. All right, now, what does that entail? Well, if enacted into law, the law would require the training include A, basic firearms and safety rules. B, firearms and children, including secure gun storage and talking to children about gun safety. C, firearms and suicide prevention. D, secure gun storage to prevent unauthorized access and use. E, safe handling of firearms. F, state and federal firearm laws, including prohibited firearms, transfers, and locations where firearms are prohibited. G, state laws pertaining to the use of deadly force for self-defense. H, techniques for avoiding a criminal attack and how to manage a violent confrontation, including conflict resolution. And then finally, Washington, the coup de grace. I, live fire shooting exercise on a firing range that includes a demonstration by the applicant of the safe handling of and shooting proficiency with firearms. All right. And then who would be able to actually provide that training? Well, according to the bill, if enacted into law, these individuals or these organizations. The training must be sponsored by a federal, state, county, or municipal law enforcement agency, a college or university, a nationally recognized organization that customarily offers firearm training, or a firearms training school with instructors certified by a nationally recognized organization that customarily offers firearms training. Now, as you know, we mentioned earlier, there would be some exemptions. There would be some individuals who do not actually have to go through the training requirements or go through the permitting process. Who are they? Well, it's law enforcement, state, local, county, federal, and active members of the United States military. And I want you to know that the Republicans pushed really hard for an exemption for all veterans who could prove their service to their country. The Democrats soundly rejected that. So if you are a veteran, thank you very much and God bless you for your service to our country. But the state of Washington believes that you need to go through a permitting process before you can arm yourself. Oh, by the way, if you think Washington State, well, I'm just not going to buy any firearms for the foreseeable future, and you're going to avoid this whole thing, yeah, think again, because if you got a concealed pistol license, when you come up for renewal then, any CPL application must be accompanied by a certificate that you have completed the firearm safety course. Oh yeah, and then Washington, if that's not bad enough, a lot of people are always amazed when I tell them there's no mandatory training before you get a concealed carry license. Yeah, but when this bill becomes law, guess what? 941, 050, 060, 070, they're all being amended and there will be mandatory training required before you can get a concealed pistol license. So there really is no way of avoiding it. The bill, if enacted into law, would read, the training required for the issuance of a license under this section must be from a concealed carry firearms safety training program certified under Section 4 of this Act that includes live fire shooting exercises on a firing range that include a demonstration by the applicant of the safe handling of shooting proficiency with firearms, including a minimum of 50 rounds of ammunition firing training at a firing range under the supervision of an instructor. So understand that one way or the other, you're going to have to absolutely go through mandatory training at your cost to either purchase a firearm or to get a concealed pistol license. If you actually have a certificate of completion of that course, you will not be mandated to be fingerprinted, however, on your concealed pistol license application. Okay, now Washington, I know it still needs to get out of the Senate, but come on. And of course, the governor could veto it. So this is really likely to become reality. And barring some type of injunctive relief, you are looking at an enactment date of November 1st of 2026, okay? And candidly, I don't even know if the state will ever have a licensing regime in place by that. And I don't know where they're going to come up with the money for it, actually, since we're already about $12 billion in the hole. Okay, now, last thing I want to talk to you about is this. You're going to have a lot of people in your social circles and your friends and your family. They're going to think this is no big deal. They're either ambivalent on guns or they lean the other way on it, okay? And here's one of the best ways that you can educate them, okay? I just want you to write this out on a piece of paper for them, okay? This statement: mandatory training at a cost to the user and a license from government before you can purchase a gun, okay? Because that's essentially what this law is stating, right? Okay, now, all I want you to do is just take the words purchase a gun out of there and fill it in with any other constitutional right, like vote, or speak freely, or go to church. Or for many people here in the state of Washington, including every Senate Democrat who believes that we need to have a constitutional right to have an abortion, how about we just take the words out and add have an abortion? Now, how constitutional and how lawful and how reasonable does that seem to anybody when you do that? Because theoretically, everything that I used as a hypothetical, except for the last one, is actually an enunciated constitutional right. So what Washington State is doing is they are taking an inalienable God-given right and they are requiring that government first must approve you before you can actually exercise that right. In order to prove your worth, you must go through mandatory training at a cost to you before you can exercise that right. Now, we have a history of attaching cost to constitutional rights. They have been struck down previously. They were called poll taxes. You can look them up for yourself because, well, it's a pretty black eye in the history of America. So Washington State, I want you to understand at the very beginning when I said this state is moving to ban your Second Amendment rights, it is not hyperbole, it is not conjecture, and it is not clickbait. Because that is exactly what the state is doing to you with House Bill 1163. Listen, we're going to go ahead and link it all up down below. You don't have to take our word for it. You can geek out on it for yourself. If you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now, but if you don't, that's okay. That information is right down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing, you know the drill. Click on that link right there and tell us all about it. If you want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter, the ability to do all of that is right down there in the description box. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, keep fighting, Washington, and stay safe.